Everybody's always talking about the youth over in Asia. What's going on with them?
I don't know, those youth over in Asia. I like those kids.
Oh, sorry, Ryan.
Yeah.
You know, you can just shout at me. That's what Frank always does. Shut the door! I was being rude and lazy. I apologize.
All right, did you watch the debate last night?
Some.
Did you watch the debate last night?
All I know is that you know what they say about people with small hands? They got small penises. That's how these people who pretend like they want to be the president of the United States talk. That is actually what was being talked about.
Oh, wait, that's what Trump said?
Well, he didn't quite say it. He didn't mention the word penis.
He didn't say penis.
He just said he's got that taken care of. He's in good shape.
They were talking about the size of things. It was very obvious innuendo, man. These guys are running to be president of the United States, and it's on both. Well, we shouldn't be talking about it. We're talking about it on the radio. Right. It should be both of them. Wow. Rubio should be ashamed of himself. He said in an interview after the fact, well, I would only say, I only say things that Jesus would be proud of me saying.
Really?
I gotta find that. Yeah, I gotta find that.
Wow.
Before I cite that, I better find it. Trump's bringing out desperation in people as the thing.
It shows leadership. I mean, your leadership comes out.
He's a natural leader. He's a natural leader, right? I mean, people want to be like him, but he leads us into bad things.
Trump sees poll numbers plummet as Yosemite Sam enters GOP race.
Let me see. What aspect would I like to be like Trump? Attracting beautiful women?
Loaded.
Des Moines, and all of Central Iowa, welcome to Mac's World Live. Mac's World is your world. Every day we talk about the issues and topics that matter most to you. And as always, it's your voice we want to hear in Mac's World. So join the conversation by calling 515-244-0077. And now, here's the host of Mac's World Live, J. Michael McCoy.
All right, 7 minutes after. Oh, I did it again. 7 minutes after 3 o'clock on the 4th day of March, my wife continually reminds me that I start everything out with all right.
Really?
Yeah, if you go back and listen to every show we do, when I come back from a break or at the top of the hour when the show starts, I always say all right. I don't know why. I just do.
That's
and
all right.
Now I'm paranoid.
About all right?
Yeah, all right.
But you're all right.
And the other thing she says I always say is K. I don't say okay. I say K.
All right.
See, this is why my wife shouldn't listen to the show. I mean, I love her, and I love her input, but see, she's a detail person. She hears things
Right.
that I just go over my head.
Just point to me. I'll say O, and then you can say K.
All right.
It'll be a team effort. It'll be a
Okay.
team effort.
All right, it is Friday. Fridays are always more fun. We used to say it was more fun on Friday because Maddie Smith was here, but Maddie doesn't come anymore. And, we were at a wedding last couple weeks ago on a Saturday.
That's right.
He
I
was
was
telling
not there.
everybody how you could have come.
I know.
He was telling everybody how much fun the radio show was. And I said, have you seen the new studios? No. So he hasn't been on the radio for, what would that make it? 6, 7, 8 months. Oh, yeah. All right. All right, I do want to remind you that some people that we like to work with here at the Truth Network, Weiss and Merkel, and it is Weiss and Merkel and the Passport to Retirement. I don't know about you, but I don't want to sit across from a salesman and be pitched about my retirement. It feels sleazy. That's my money. I've earned it. That's what I'm going to live off of. I've worked hard for it. I don't need some Johnny-come-lately sitting across from me trying to sell me on their retirement plans. That's why I like Weiss and Merkel. These are both local guys, James Weiss, Lauren Merkel, and they're holding a Passport to Retirement, kind of a, open house class, somewhere in between that. It's next Thursday and then the Thursday after, March 10th and March 17th. It's $49 a couple, so you know it has value. Anytime somebody says they're throwing a free seminar, oh, by the way, we're buying dinner, run. Run, run, run. You know who used to do that? Rooster. That's how he'd get his customers. He'd send you a postcard and come on in, you got a free dinner, and we're going to talk to you about something. Well,
I get those all the time.
yeah, well, they're not worth anything.
I know. I never go.
So $49. It's the 10th of March and the 17th of March. Here's the number you call, 278-4110. 278-4110. Try it. See what you think. Because I got to tell you something. Retirement plans have completely changed. The tax code has changed them. The insurance. Oh, we were just talking about insurance off the air. Insurance has changed retirement. I mean, Bob, do you mind sharing what you pay a month for your insurance? Or is that
Well, it's $850 a month
$850 a month?
for health.
Now, you didn't plan on that 15 years ago when you put your retirement plans together. You knew you were going to have this for property taxes, a little bit higher probably, this for a house payment, or if the house payment was paid off. You knew what a car would cost, but now your insurance is what, doubled in 5 years?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say.
So I don't care if you're 35 or if you're 65. These guys can help you, and they're good Christian guys. Lauren's best friend is one of my best friends, Brent Westman. And you know me, I'm a people person. I do business with people, not places. I do not do business with shingles. I do business with the people who have the shingles. It sounds like a medical.
Yeah.
You know what I mean by putting a shingle out.
You mean like roof?
No. In the old days, remember the old western towns? And if you had a store,
I wasn't
you were
born then.
You were a lawyer, or you were a dentist, or you were a blacksmith. They'd hang that one piece of wood out.
Yeah.
And it would say Chris Roloff, lawyer. And those were called shingles.
Those are the things they would shoot, the gunslingers.
Yeah.
Yeah, those were called shingles. That was your shingle.
Nice.
And I don't do business with shingles. I do business with the people that hang them up. I don't do business with if you were my favorite restaurant and you sold that restaurant to somebody else and the food was exactly the same, I probably would follow you to your new restaurant.
Yeah.
Or your new car dealership or whatever it is. So when I when I get on the radio and tell you that Weiss and Merkel are good boys, I'm putting my reputation on the line. So you don't have to trust them. If you trust me just this once, and by the way, if they don't treat you well, I want to know about it. Anytime you respond to a advertiser, a supporter, an underwriter, a client, a guest, whatever it is, if you don't get, if you're not under promised and over delivered, I want to know. Well, actually, I want to know both ways. Obviously, I want to know if you're happy. But I used to say in the restaurant business, I like it when you tell me my cheeseburgers are good, but I need you to tell me when they're not. So check them out, 278-4110. It's Weiss, Weiss -Merkel, Weiss Merkel Financial. It's over in Johnston. Check them out. That's coming up next week and the week after. All right. So who watched the debate last night?
I did not. I did not watch the debate.
You really don't have to watch the debate now.
Not anymore. Not anymore.
Yeah, you can just get everything you want on the Google, as I like to call it.
Or the replays.
Yeah, and at this point, here in Iowa, we've caucused. We've done that part. And so now I'm just, my interest level has waned. I'm going to be honest with you. It's gone down a little bit. I'm just more curious how this is all going to pan out, because it's going to pan out on something.
Well, I have a group of guys. Have you ever gone to lunch with me on Friday with my guys?
No, sir.
No. Bob, I know you haven't. You're both invited. But I got a bunch of guys I have lunch with every Friday, and we've been having lunch for over 20 years together. And today, and these are mostly, are they all? Yeah, they're probably all conservative when I come to think about it. They're all church-going conservative guys, business guys, independent business guys. And every one of them have had enough. Nobody's excited anymore in our group about electing a conservative president. We don't. It's like we don't care anymore. It doesn't do any good. They're going to do what they want in Washington. They're going to think we have stupid written on their foreheads, and it doesn't matter. I hate to hear that, because that means they're winning. That means the government's winning. The big government, which now even the Republicans think they are going to do. And you watched that debate last night, and it's just a joke. It's like, who's that ventriloquist? Jeff...
Not Jeff Foxworthy. No.
Dunham. Jeff Dunham.
Oh, yes.
He has the burrito on a stick.
And Peanut.
And Peanut, yeah. And the angry guy. Who's the angry guy?
The old guy with the folded arms like that.
Yeah, that's who we all felt like today. We all felt like the angry guy.
Yeah.
Just sitting there, I've had it. I've had it up to here.
Brad says he had to turn it off because he was so...
Secretary of Defense, Brad?
Yes.
Okay.
He had to turn it off because he was so disgusted by the GOP.
I am too. I just can't.
Well, Mac, I
can't believe it.
Mac,
and here's the. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
Here's the big deal. This is really the Tea Party. That's what really is. This is the cause and effect after 12 years of a Tea Party. I'm just telling you, because who are the two groups running for the Republican nominee? The establishment and other. Well, other is called Tea Party. And this is the Tea Party coming to they're here. Fruition.
Fruition?
Yeah, what were you going to say?
Well, Mac, what I was going to say is that the way it was reported on, again, because I didn't watch it, the way it was reported on, I just was sad. I was ashamed. I felt shame for being a Republican. I have at this point, I cannot hold my head up and call myself a Republican. I just can't. I don't feel like that's something I'm proud of anymore. I'm just so disgusted at this process and how, like little boys, they've become. Like little boys, they've acted. It's my ball and I'm going home. Just the lack of maturity, the lack of just and all except, now get this is funny, all except John Kasich.
Absolutely.
That guy...
He was the only adult on the stage last night.
He was an adult, and for that, I've seen reports where people said he won the debate simply because he was a grown-up. There was a grown-up on the stage,
and
it was John Kasich. Now, I don't know enough about the guy, but that's... It's sad that the guy who is the grown-up, the mature person on the stage that is actually getting things done in his state and can keep his composure is not the guy leading the fight. That says something about me more than it says about the Republican Party.
No, it doesn't say anything about you, but what does it say about the condition of the United States right now and the Republican Party? Forget the party, just the conservatives. If you're not a progressive, you're us. What does that say about us?
We're crazy. We've gone mad. We've lost it. I don't think I don't think that our group is sane anymore. We're so agitated, so upset, so frustrated, feel so lack of a better word here, impotent, unable to get things done, that we're just lashing out. And even the people running to represent us are acting that way. I mean, they're acting like fools, desperate fools.
Well, when we come back, I'll give you some of the premises from last night. One of them, unfortunately, is the name for male anatomy, which I can't believe was a part of a debate.
Disgraceful.
We one of the most important moments in debates that I've witnessed, and I've been watching debates since Kennedy and Nixon, was when the person asked George W. Bush the first time around who was the one person who most influenced him. And do you remember the answer? Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
We've gone from that to talking about penises without talking about it. It's just crazy, but we'll give you the full tape. Now, next hour, I've got a youth leader coming in from Spencer Kuroff's church, and Ashley is her name, and we're going to talk about what's going on with middle school kids. And I don't think we're going to smile very much, but we are going to be informed. It's coming up next, live on The Truth.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Hi, my name is David Burrier, your Hope Coach. I host a live weekly talk show called I've Been There every Thursday afternoon at 5:30, right here on webcast1live.com, and on my weekly radio program Saturday mornings at 10 on Truth Network 99.3 FM. I interview common everyday people who have survived incredible life challenges and who testify to God's faithfulness in the midst of their storms. So join me as we bring a message of hope and encouragement. Everybody needs hope. I know, because I've been there.
Hey everybody, I brought Northern Lights Pizza! And it's got Graziano sausage!
Rock and Prevention is celebrating 25 years of creating a caring community. We want to say thank you to the tens of thousands of Rock High School mentors that have carried our message of health, love, and encouragement to over 1.5 million children, teachers, and parents. Our mentors teach children methods and skills to prevent bullying and drug use. Thank you to all the school administrators, teachers, and counselors for their opportunity to serve you. Rock on, fair citizens. Rock on. This is Pat McManus for Rock and Prevention, the Richard O. Jacobson Foundation, and this station.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast 1 Live.
21 minutes after 3:21, fourth day of March, Lord's Year 2016. J. Michael McCoy, thanks for listening. Love this job. Couldn't do it without you right here in... Did you hear that echo?
Yeah.
I heard that. Couldn't do it without you. That's right. Max World Live, if you are just finding this and going, whoa, something's really freaky here. Wasn't that 99.3 that he was on before? No, that was 98.3. Where's Bradshaw? Well, I've got a Bradshaw, and he lives in his mother's house. His name is Frank, and he's not here today. I've also got Chris Roloff, station manager, and to my left, which doesn't matter to you, but Bob Montserrat, the cat in the hat, watching the chat. And the only difference between the Max World that we have today and the Max World we had for years was that I get to say the name of Jesus. I don't know if you knew this. You know, did I ever tell you why I got fired at 98.3?
Mac, you did, but I
every
don't
Friday I had a show called The View from a Pew, and I'd bring a pastor in, and we'd talk about faith and value issues. And one day, one of the new managers came up to me and said, "I don't want you talking about religion on our radio station. If people want religion, they can tune somewhere else." And I said, "Well, I don't know what that means, religion. What does that mean?" And he said, "Well, you say Jesus' name, and I don't want you to say Jesus' name." And I looked at this guy, and I said, "So you're telling me that I'm going to lose my job if I say Jesus on the radio?" He said, "Yeah, I'm telling you, you can't do that." And I said, "Well, I'll do that tomorrow." He said, "Well, don't, because I'll fire you." I did, and he did, and I was done. How about that?
How about that?
How about that? So anyway, and God lifted me up and brought me to this incredible radio station 5 years ago. And if you say five, there's never been this station on the dial. I've lived out by the lake for years, and I've never heard you. Yeah, we moved last July. We physically, the FCC said, "Okay, we're going to let you cover Des Moines." And we moved our tower to northern Polk County rather than northern Boone County. And we picked up 17 and a half miles coverage, and that's why you're listening to it. And that's why we're here. And I get to say, Jesus, all I want. All right. We'll get back to the debates in just a second. Something funny. Now, who is the last person you thought you'd see breaking news on today? Wasn't Donald Trump, because that makes sense. It wasn't Hillary Clinton.
I know.
It wasn't South Korea or North Korea. You know, do you hear what's going on there? They're threatening to send a nuclear bomb over to South Korea. I mean, they've gone on high alert, that little guy has.
Yeah.
But who owned the breaking news at about 10:30 this morning?
I know.
Who?
Bob, who is it, Bob?
OJ
Simpson.
O.J. Simpson. Wait a minute. What year is this?
They are tearing down his old mansion to build a new house there in Brentwood, and they found a knife. And they're running this through the lab to check for fingerprints and for DNA. And they discovered that there was a Los Angeles detective that knew about this knife and never said anything.
That was long time ago.
It was 1994.
Right.
Yeah, actually, I think it happened in like 92, and then the trial was in 94 or 95.
Yeah, it was about the time of the trial that it was found.
So we're talking 22 years ago. And they have, and you know what? I don't think anything's going to come of this. But this dominated Fox, CNN, MSNBC, headline news, dominated it from about, 10 o'clock this morning?
Yes.
Something like this. This was the big, they have found a bloody knife in Brentwood at O.J. Simpson's old house.
Yeah, it's a buried knife. Buried.
It was, it was it buried or what? Okay, now I don't.
They say a construction worker found a knife buried in the perimeter of the
construction worker
estate.
told the officer he had found the knife on the former Simpson property. Neiman said that he was not sure whether the officer had already left the force when he received the object. At the time, he was working off duty on a movie job. I think they found it under the floor, is what I think. I don't think it was buried in the dirt. I think it was they were taking this mansion down, and it was under the floor. But anyway, the knife will be tested for hair and blood, but with the passing of time, it's going to be a difficult test because the stuff is probably degraded significantly by being buried in the soil. Oh, I was wrong. It's buried in the soil. All right, so you're a DCI guy. If this knife has been exposed to the elements for 22 years, is there anything on this knife?
probably no DNA. I'm just guessing because the conditions have to be good for it. DNA you can get for years and years and years as long as it's preserved properly.
Right.
But being buried is not a good.
Yeah.
And the fingerprint.
Well, and I don't know, Chris, if you realize this, but the weapon that the detectives determined was used in the stabbing deaths of both Nicole Simpson Brown. That's amazing. I even can remember that because I'm not looking at it. And the other guy was believed to be a long serrated knife, and it was never found. It's one of the reasons they couldn't convict him. You got to have a murder weapon.
And gloves that fit.
Yeah, and the gloves didn't fit, and they
You must commit.
Whatever it is. Yeah, the prosecution swore that these were the gloves used in the murder, and then OJ went to put them on, and they didn't fit.
Well, they probably were, but I think they shrunk.
I was always told they probably soaked them in water because they were leather gloves.
Yeah.
So anyway, in the murder trial that gripped the nation's attention in the mid-'90s, Alan Wattenberg, owner of Ross Cutlery Store, testified that his employee sold Simpson a 15-inch stiletto knife on May 3rd, 94. He said Simpson asked that the knife be sharpened. I just think that'd be funny, because everybody feels that OJ got away with that. I have a little more confidence in our judicial system than that I think I'm smarter than the judicial system. He eventually did some terrible things. I think he was accused of attempted murder and robbery, and he was involved in his autograph stuff, and he's now in prison, and he's dying in prison. He's gained 1,000 pounds, not literally, but it's just too bad. For a guy, you're not old enough to remember the Jews. But O.J. Simpson, when he was in his prime with the Buffaloes, where are the Buffaloes?
Buffalo Bills?
Yeah, what town is that? Buffalo, New York.
West New York.
The Buffalo Bills in Buffalo, New York. He won the big prize in college. Heisman. He was incredible on the field. Then he went into acting, and he wasn't very good, but he was funny. And he was in the airplane movies, and I don't know if you remember him running through the airport for Hearst. And then this thing happens, and it's just all gone. Talk about a life over with, gone. But everybody thought he did it. Well, what if we're now sitting here 20-some years later, and they find the knife, and they can test it, and it's got Nicole's blood on it? That's it. Now, he can't be tried again, though, can he?
Right, cannot.
So it would be just for giggles.
Yeah, everybody be satisfied that they finally had the knife and the evidence.
I think that's interesting. Now, how old were you in 94? You would have been 20-something, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you remember this?
No, 1994. No, I was still a teenager.
Okay. Well, did you remember the OJ
yeah.
thing? Okay.
Yeah.
So
I
it was a
remember
big deal down there.
I remember the Bronco.
Okay.
Driving down the
white
road.
Bronco. Yeah.
The white Bronco.
They're showing all this video today during this breaking news.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That's
all
pretty funny.
So what'd you think of the debate last night? We're going to spend a few minutes on this, and it's your voice I want to hear. Let's hear you. 515-244-0077. Or on the Service Legends Truth Text Talk line at 515-809-0993. What I'd really like to hear from somebody, I'd like to hear, and if you call up and you say what Chris just said and I just said and Bob just said and everybody's thinking that it was just terrible, that this is what the grand old party has been reduced to, is three men fighting about how, well, just bad stuff. If you saw a good thing on that stage besides John Kasich, I'd like to hear from you especially, because I'd like somebody to enlighten me and inspire me and lift me up and say, Mac, I know, it's what it seemed like, but here's the good thing. Now, I don't know if you saw my Facebook page today, but I got the numbers run. And this is going to go to a brokered convention. I mean, Trump would have to absolutely, positively kill everything, win everything, and nobody else would get anything for him to walk into the convention with enough delegates to grab the nomination. This is going to go to a brokered convention, and I'm going to tell you, just like Mitt Romney coming out yesterday, the establishment will not have this. We thought the Democrats fought dirty. The Clinton machine fights dirty. The Obama machine fights dirty out of Chicago and Illinois. You're going to see what nasty Republicans can do right now. Because if they get Trump in the White House, they've lost. They've lost all their power. All the money that they're given from lobbyists and all that, it won't have any power because Donald Trump will just decide what's going to happen, and he'll be exactly like Obama, with a pen and a phone, and he'll just do stuff that he wants to all day long. So that's just my opinion, and my opinion is no more important than yours. In fact, yours may be more important. I'd like to hear it. 515-244-0077 or on the Service Legends Truth Tech Talk line.
That line is for texts.
Truth Text Talk line.
Yeah, if you can send us a text.
Oh, I shouldn't say talk, should I?
No.
Truth Text line.
Yeah.
That'd be a lot easier for my mouth.
It's just a text line. You could send us a text at 515-809-0993.
Are there any texts coming in, Robert?
No. And if somebody tries to give a voice, it tries to interpret it, and I can't read it.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
Oh, I need to stop saying talk then.
Yeah, it's just a text line. It's a text line.
Truth text line.
Just the text line. We don't need to say truth. People know they're listening to the truth. Service Legends text line, 515-809-0993. But we love hearing your voice and interacting with you at 515-244-0077.
You've got that down pretty good now.
I dream about it at night.
You do not.
No, I sent a text in. Did you get my text earlier, Bob? That was yesterday.
Yeah.
As you guys were talking about the
he
pizza.
Didn't like pickles.
No, you guys were talking about blue cheese, and I had finished eating my weight in pizza. Not true. I was doing that, and you guys were talking about blue cheese, which is my absolute favorite dressing. My absolute favorite thing on a salad is jalapenos and blue cheese dressing on like a chef salad. That's good stuff.
You got jalapenos on lettuce?
Oh yeah, man. So you give me a chef's all right. If you ever bump into me at Palmer's, Dollars to No Nuts, I guarantee you I will be eating a chef salad with blue cheese dressing and jalapenos on it.
Right.
Absolutely wonderful.
Let's go to the phone line where James does want his voice heard. Hi, James. You're live in Max World. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing well. Long-time listener, first-time caller. I'm glad I got through.
Hey, thank you very much for calling. So, did you watch it last night, the circus?
I did. I watched that debacle of what was the GOP debate last night. And first, I agree with the other radio host. I was ashamed to even be associated with the Republican Party. But I do think the one good thing, I guess two good things, was John Kasich. He was mature. He stood up there. He answered questions. He didn't take part of the name-calling and just the immaturity that you saw from two of the major candidates. But I think the other good thing was I think Ted Cruz distanced himself, and I'm a Ted Cruz supporter. I think he distanced himself from Marco Rubio and Donald Trump, and I think he was probably the second most maturest on the stage.
Yeah, I would agree with you. James, I would agree with you. So, but are you a conservative?
I am a conservative.
All right. Well, I want you to hold on. We're going to go do a 3-minute break, and when you come back, I want to ask you what you think you and I, James, Chris, and Bob, what we need to do to make sure that our party doesn't just fall apart in the middle of this. We're coming back. James will be live on the phone, and you're live here with us on The Truth. Max World Live on 99.3.
Northern Lights Pizza's amazing garlic butter makes amazing breadsticks. Now available in 12-ounce bottles at Northern Lights, Hy-Vee, and Graziano's. Northern Lights.
Our technicians are going to give you an exact to-the-penny price on what it's going to take before they move forward with any repair. That way you know what to expect.
It's the same price every day.
No surprises.
If you get off work at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you come home, you realize that, oh, my furnace is broken. Now you need to call somebody out that night. You shouldn't have to pay more for that.
We're guaranteeing service 24/7.
We run afternoons, evenings, nights, weekends. We're staffed to work that.
Phone rings at 3 in the morning. You'll get one of our representatives answering the phone every time.
We're not sending you out to Timbuktu in some call center. It's our Service Legend team members, our mission control team.
I'll take a call anytime.
And then they answer the phones the same way during the day as they do at night.
It's a great day at your service company. How can we make you smile?
That's the only way to provide true 24-hour service.
When you're able to let somebody actually live in their home safely when they weren't able to do that before, where they don't have to stay up at night and worry about, is the heat going to come back on? Are we going to freeze the pipes? Is the baby in the room next door going to be sick because they got too cold? When you're able to help somebody overcome challenges like that, that's impacting a life. That makes a difference. I get goosebumps thinking about it.
I love the team. I love the people that I work with.
We have fun, but we work hard.
I call them my ambassadors of legendary service. If you could just envision what that is, that's who we're sending to your home.
They literally will call in, pick up the phone and call and say, hey, I want to talk to your manager. And I get on the phone, they're like, that technician that was at my house was the greatest technician ever. That's cool to me.
We want to brighten people's days.
Every person that we have going into the house has gone through an extensive background check.
Drug testing, we have a very thorough interview process that 1 out of 140 people make it through.
If we promise you something, that's what you're going to get, no matter what.
We're here when you need us to protect the safety and comfort of your family.
If you're not happy, we're going to make it right.
If we're willing to put 100% money back guarantee on what we do, what type of work do you think we do?
Give us a call. We're there for you 24/7, 365 days a year.
Enough said.
.338, 22 minutes before the top of the hour, 4th day of March in the Lord's year 2016. Next hour, a young lady by the name of Ashley Foreman. And she is, I don't know her exact title, but she works and attends and worships at Spencer Karoff's church.
First Church of the Open Bible.
Yeah. And I asked Ashley what she was passionate about. And after she said Nebraska Cornhuskers, no, she didn't. I just lied. That was a total lie on my part. I'll ask for forgiveness. She's passionate. She her middle school kids that she has. She teaches them. She's the leader of the what do you call it? The youth ministry over there. And so I've asked her to come in today in the 4 o'clock hour and kind of give us a view, especially for those of us that either don't have kids that young or we don't talk to our grandkids that much. I mean, I have a grandson in that age. I have a grandson that's almost 18, almost 16, and a granddaughter that's almost 12. And, I do talk about them. My daughter many times says, filter, Grandpa, filter, which means I'm asking something that maybe she doesn't think her poor, innocent, naive, and adolescent children should hear about, like they don't hear about it every place else. I got to stop because there's a rabbit trail I want to go down there. But I'm not going to. But anyway, so Ashley's going to come in.
Yeah.
And she's going to share with us. Because I'm just curious what these kids are facing out there nowadays. It is completely different than what Grandpa was doing.
Oh, and
at age 15.
You got a kid. If you have a child that's in middle school age, I definitely would tune in and listen or call somebody who does, because I remember being a middle schooler. I did things I don't think my parents knew I was doing. But
why don't we just take a moment one day and you can just tell us that, and I'll make sure your dad's listening.
I think James has something wonderful he would like to add on the phone.
So, James, thank you for calling in at 515-244-0077. What are we going to do about this? Is it lost? Have we now lost control of the decency that we used to think was the backbone of the grand old party, the GOP, the Republicans?
You know what? It might seem like that, but I don't think so. No matter what Donald Trump puts on social media about how he won last night's debate, I think it was his worst debate last night because all Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio did was hit him with his failures, or how he's flip-flopped on different issues, how he supported Hillary Clinton in 2008, giving her 10 different contributions. And so I just think that's what we have to do. Also, I think the Republican Party needs to stop being the party that is against everything, but also on the other side of the coin, not be the party that compromises on issues. And I don't have that figured out, but I think some way we as a party need to figure that out. What do you think?
You mean to not compromise or to compromise more?
I think not compromise on the big issues, but find ways that we can make stuff work across the aisle, but also not be the party that is against every single thing, because I think that's what Republicans, I think that's what we're seen as way too often, is the people who are against everything.
James, this is Chris. I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And that's why I was so disappointed that Kasich, is it Kasich or Kasich?
It's Kasich.
Kasich. This is why Kasich isn't getting.
That's my guess. If I'm wrong, then it's Kasich.
Because John, the guy John who's running.
It's spelled Kasich, so I would imagine it's Kasich.
Part of the reason why he's probably not getting a lot of airtime is we don't know how to say the man's name, poor guy. But he seems, James, like the kind of guy that would reach across the aisle. Now, he's not the guy I caucused for here in Iowa, but he's impressed me since Iowa as a guy who might be what you're talking about, James. But is it too late, you think, for a guy like that?
You know what? I don't think so, to be honest with you. And to be also honest, he's not who I caucused for either. But the more I hear him, and I think the more the American people hear his message and how he's not taking part of the defamatory statements that are being slung from Donald Trump and Marco Rubio back to each other, and they're just showing their maturity. I think the more he stands on the stage and he answers questions that are asked to him, he's proving himself to the American people, one, his track record, and two, that he can get the job done. I completely agree with you.
Well, now let's remember, folks, we're not rating last night's movie. We are talking about it. But what we're doing is we're hiring a president. Kasich was a state governor. So some of the best presidents have come out of the governorship.
Absolutely.
He was also a representative.
Yeah, state representative.
But no,
United States.
U.S.
Oh, United States representative. Okay. But let's remember, guys, and I hate to keep bringing us back to a negative point here, and I'm just going to go over to my Facebook for a minute. James, I'm just going to let you hang in there, and then if you have any comment, let me know, okay?
Absolutely. Thank you.
You have to look at the delegate count. I know we don't want to get moored down by the facts. We'd rather dream that tomorrow Kasich could be the number one guy. But the fact of the matter is, here, and let me just read what I wrote. And if you're a friend of mine on Facebook, you can see it here. All right, looks like we'll be heading to a brokered convention. That means Rubio will be the winner. So for all of you Trump and Cruz fans out there, get ready, because the candidate that has received less than 15% of the popular vote will be the candidate that gets picked to run against Hillary. Okay, and kind of like how Brad Zahn lost the Senate run to Representative Young because he was the third, not the one or two. Okay, Trump has 45% of the vote, which will end up getting him about, I estimated, 1,119 delegates. Cruz will have 795 delegates. Rubio will only have 377, but that's 141 unaccounted for. They need, do you know how many they need? They need 1,272 are needed for the nomination. So if all of a sudden the convention can't get enough delegates for one of those candidates, it's likely to go to Rubio. That's how that works. That means 77% of the Republican voters will not get the candidate they want, and that'll make some people mad. But this is establishment politics at its best. It is any wonder that the American people are so angry. Trump must perform better than he has in the last 15 contests to even have a chance to have the nomination locked up going into convention. Guys, this is American politics at its dirtiest. We've talked about superdelegates and how that's going to end up screwing Bernie Sanders. James, do you understand that system enough to where you can correct me where you think I'm incorrect on my, not necessarily the individual numbers, but the process that I'm getting to, that I think Rubio wins the nomination if we go in brokered?
Yeah. No, I don't see anything wrong with how you just figured that out. What I will say this, though, as a Republican, I would have no problem supporting Marco Rubio as the nominee come fall time. I don't think anyone who supports John Kasich or Ted Cruz would have any problem. But you do supporting Marco Rubio. But on the other side of the coin, if Donald Trump is the nominee, then the people supporting Marco Rubio, Ted Cruz, and John Kasich, they will have a problem supporting him. I will have a problem supporting him because he is not someone, I think, that deserves to be president.
Well, and then it's going to come down to who he chooses for VP. And I don't know if Trump's...
You think that'll be Chris Christie?
Well, there's a little birdie in my ear that tells me that deal's been done. And I don't always trust little birdies. But I'm being told behind the scenes, and if you know where I get the term little birdie, you know where I'm getting that deal has been struck. Now, if Donald Trump was smart, he'd pick up Rubio, because Rubio owns Florida.
But would Rubio ever become his running mate, since they've had this campaign of just slamming each other back and forth?
I'm amazed how politicians can hate each other one day and love each other the next. It seems to be a characteristic of politicians, and I'm not good at that. I mean, and I'll give you an example how you can hear that right on the radio. There are days, Chris, that you and I are not having the best of days on the other side of this building where the office is being done. We don't necessarily come in here and go, oh, it's wonderful, Chris is here today. Politicians somehow can do that. And I'm not sure that's a characteristic I want to have. I think that's a little facade-ish,
I completely agree.
Yeah, but politicians have a way of doing that. And Senator Marco Rubio, what does the vice president do? He proceeds over the Senate and Senator Ted Cruz. He better not bring in some Yahoo. And I'm not sure Chris Christie isn't under the Yahoo calendar. James, thanks for listening, man. I appreciate you calling. We're coming back next hour. What's going on with kids in the government schools today? Ashley Foreman will be here. You'll enjoy it.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Rockton Prevention is celebrating 25 years of creating a caring community. We want to say thank you to the tens of thousands of Rock High School mentors that have carried our message of health, love, and encouragement to over 1.5 million children, teachers, and parents. Our mentors teach children methods and skills to prevent bullying and drug use. Thank you to all the school administrators, teachers, and counselors for their opportunity to serve you. Rock on, fair citizens. Rock on. This is Pat McManus for Rockton Prevention, the Richard O. Jacobson Foundation, and this station.
Northern Lights Pizza, your home of the tasty crust. Our garlic butter sauce now available in 12-ounce bottles at Northern Lights, Hy-Vee, and Graziano's.
Northern Lights Pizza. Hi, my name is David Burrier, your Hope Coach. I host a live weekly talk show called I've Been There every Thursday afternoon at 5:30, right here on webcast1live.com, and on my weekly radio program Saturday mornings at 10 on Truth Network 99.3 FM. I interview common, everyday people who have survived incredible life challenges and who testify to God's faithfulness in the midst of their storms. So join me as we bring a message of hope and encouragement. Everybody needs hope. I know, because I've been there.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Well, you're right. If I was wrong, thank you for the mic being on. 10 minutes before 4 o'clock, 3:50 in the afternoon. It's the 4th day of March in the Lord's year 2016. A young lady by the name of Ashley Foreman, who is a part of the youth ministry at Pastor Spencer Karoff's church. And we had an interesting conversation on the phone today about middle school kids. And that's part of the group that she leads over at First Church of the Open Bible. And so we're going to have a conversation. I'm very curious. I have grandkids that age, and I don't know if Grandpa knows what's going on. I don't know. I try to. I know I must say some things wrong to my grandkids because my daughter, who I love deeply, is constantly saying, filter, Grandpa, filter, which is my wife and my daughter's way of saying, come on, quit putting your foot in your mouth, Mac. I don't know how to live without my foot in my mouth, Mac. This is why I do what I do. Anyway, so I'm going to be curious to hear from Ashley, and she'll be our special guest after the Salem Radio Network News update at 4 o'clock. All right, so we talked about the O.J. knife. Patty Judge is officially running for U.S. Senate against Grassley. I got to admit, Patty Judge comes with a fine pedigree. I mean, she was lieutenant governor. She was secretary of agriculture. She knows the state. She knows a lot about it. Somebody today at my lunch group who is a conservative, but we were just all kind of sick of what's going on that we were talking about, said maybe it's time for Grassley to go. If Grassley's going to go, I don't want Grassley to go to a Democrat. So then the question comes, do we have a primary? Would Chuck Grassley allow, and it's not really that he has the final say, but he has a big say, would he allow a primary? Would he be allowed himself to be challenged in a primary against a young strapping buck or buckette? Would that female buckette? Okay. Because we can't lose that seat to a Democrat. We cannot lose that long-held Republican seat to a Democrat. And the reason they're all jumping in is because Grassley is not moving on this Supreme Court nominations. He's the head of the Judiciary Committee. He's not going to budge. He says they're not. It's up to him whether they hear hearings, and by golly, they're not going to hear them under a Democratic president. He may pay the dearest price for that. And if he loses in November, guess who's not the head of the Judiciary Committee anymore? And Obama's in office till mid-January. So that is going to be interesting. All right. Here's the other thing that I just can't stand about judiciary. I'm saying that wrong, I know. Do you remember last February that an Urbandale man was accused of driving drunk, and he hit a bunch of bicyclists over on Grand Avenue in Des Moines, and he allegedly killed Gregory Wade Franek, who was riding with other cyclists in the urban assault ride. Franek, very well-known manager at Kyle's Bike Shop in Ankeny. He was killed. I'm not sure, but I think if you drive by where he was killed, there's still that white bicycle. They took a bicycle and they painted it all white, and that's kind of a little monument for him over there. Well, they've decided that Daniel Northfield, defense attorney Daniel Northfield, has decided that the information in the search warrant wasn't valid because Officer Michael Dixon, the senior police officer who gave a sworn statement hours after the crash, he didn't do the thing correct for the judge to sign off to get a blood sample. Because this guy would not blow into the blow and go, so they had to get a blood sample. He had to get a court order from a judge, and he didn't get the paperwork right. He didn't do anything wrong. He didn't lie. He didn't cheat. He didn't steal. He didn't try to do anything goofy, but he didn't fill out his paperwork right. And Bob, that usually means that evidence can be thrown out, right?
He still got the blood test?
Yeah, they still got the blood test, and it still showed he had a blood alcohol content of 0.213.
Okay.
That's 2.5 times, almost 3 times more than it should be, 0.08.
Well, it could be suppressed, the evidence.
And so if you can't bring in what the blood alcohol content is, then you can't try him for
operating while intoxicated.
Right. And that's the way the American judiciary system works.
But you could still, give your opinion as far as the arresting officer, how the person was acting, odor of alcohol, person didn't pass, their tests. I'm just saying, even if you don't have, you do have some.
That's not an automatic, the case is
evidence.
Lost.
I would think not.
Yeah. John Sarcone, of course, who is the county attorney for Polk County, said he could not discuss the motion because the case is pending. A prosecutor, however, in his office will file a response in court ahead of the March 22nd hearing on the issue. Northfield, that's the attorney who's representing the alleged murderer, Northfield did not immediately return a reporter's phone calls on Thursday afternoon either. So anyway, court documents show that Dixon is a senior Des Moines police officer who spoke with the accused after he was taken into custody. Dixon testified that the accused failed 3 sobriety tests, had bloodshot, watery eyes, in a sworn statement to a judge during a hearing to obtain the warrant. That would be a darn shame if that case got thrown out, or if he lost that case. The other thing, it's been done and decided. It's been on the table for many, many years, but the YMCA of Greater Des Moines has announced that it will be scrapping the decade-old plans to build a branch in Grimes. They have 9.5 acres that they were given by Bill Knapp and Charlie Gabus, his foundation. But they are in so much trouble with money. And everybody's so mad because they were not able to finish the Wellmark Y downtown and put the pool in. And I'm very familiar with this because my church, Lutheran Church of Hope, was going to own the other half of the Y building, and we were going to share. And so we may be, we're still looking for a location in Johnston, Grimes. But, those people in Grimes, that's a growing community, and they deserve to have a wonderful YMCA just like all the other communities, but they're not. But guess who's applied for the job to run all the YMCAs? Because the guy that had the job had to resign because they blamed the shortage on him. Former Governor Chet Culver has applied for the job to run the YMCAs.
Really?
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, he'd be good. He'd be good at that. I've always been a Culver fan. Now, Tom Coates will pick on me for that because he's the opposite of a Culver fan. But I was just having lunch with Chet the other day, and he's a smart guy. He wasn't ready to be a governor, but see, his dad was a big United States senator here, so everybody thought that little Chet could do the job, and Chet's just not cut out to be a governor. But he could run the Y very effectively, so we'll see what happens. All right, we're going to take our top-of-the-hour news break with Salem Radio Network News, and when we come back, your middle school child, grandchild, neighbor, friends, kids at church, what are they really dealing with out there in the world today? A youth director at Church of the Open Bible, Spencer Karoff's church, her name is Ashley. She'll be with us, and we'll be live here on The Truth.